Andrea again with Beats by Britton, and this is lesson 5 in my series of on how to use and set up external MIDI gear and in Logic, and how to have Logic control it. All right. So this is just a recap pretty much of everything we've covered so far. We're going to add, this is the Corgan one that I've already set up. I'm going to add another instrument. And this time I hope I can get through it pretty quickly. So we're going to add my Akai XR drum sequencer and have Logic be able to pull up the different drum kits on it. So we're going to click on the plus. We're going to add external MIDI. Leave that unticked. We don't need the external instrument plugin. MIDI destination is going to be the instrument that we're going to use, which is my Akai. All right, click on Create. In the channel inspector information here on the left, we're going to tick off Program because we want Logic to be able to send program changes and respond to program changes from the Akai. Okay? So it should look like that. Now we're going to open the environment. Ignore the fact that it says standard kit here. We're going to set up the kit names in a minute. This is not, there is no kit on my Akai called standard kit. This is coming from Logic, but we're going to fix that in a minute. So we're going to get into the environment. We hit Control 0, Command 0, as long as that track is highlighted. It's Command 0. This is the new instrument object that we just created. All right. It's the Akai XR20. Remember, I have all the channels disabled except for channel 10. In your audio MIDI setup for drum sequencers or for drum machines, you could enable all 10 channels or all 16 channels, but since drum machines primarily communicate over channel 10, I've disabled all the channels except for channel 10. The reason for doing that is because I don't want to hit one of these pads and have it accidentally record. See, that's drums. I don't want it to accidentally play piano or sax or anything like that. So I just want it on channel 10. The drum machine is set to only transmit and receive over channel 10, and so is the Mac. Okay? So is Logic, I mean. So anyway, I'm going to highlight this instrument object, actually is what it's called. Click on Options, go to Define Custom Bank Messages. By default, this is what your Logic is going to look like. This is what your bank messages are going to look like. I'm not going to need all of these. I'm only going to set up a couple of these. I don't need all of them. So I'm going to start with a blank slate. Highlight them all, hit delete. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to add these MSB and LSB data, bytes or messages, whatever you want to call them. It's a controller message. So if this list shows notes or anything other than controller, you're going to click controller and click on plus. And this is where you need this information from your user manual. You need the MSB and the LSB information. And my Akai XR20 has 6 banks of samples that I can pull up. But I only use the first 2 banks. I only use preset drum kits and user drum kits. I don't use the one-shots or the preset synth kits. I definitely don't use the synth kits, either one of them. They're actually pretty bad. So are the one-shot kits. So I don't use them. I could set them up if I wanted, but I don't want to. I'm only going to set up preset drum kits and user drum kits. So this is where we need the MSB and the LSB. And Akai makes it easy because the MSB and the LSB are 0 for the preset drum kits, and the MSB is 0 and the LSB is 1 for user drum kits. So after we've added our first controller message here, the variable is MSB. So I click that. And the value is, it's actually already filled in for you. So the value is 0. And that's what we want. We're going to add another one. And when you click on the plus sign to add another controller message, Logic puts it on top of the other one that you already added. That's fine. Now the variable, we're going to change that to LSB, which is 32. And the value is also 0. Okay, so now we have the first bank. We have the instructions that Logic needs to pull up the preset drum kits. And Logic defaults to bank 0. I'm going to change that to 1. There. Okay. So that's the MSB and the LSB information that we need for Logic to pull up the preset drum kits. Now I'm going to add the information that we need to pull up the user drum kits. I'm going to add another controller message, change that to bank 2, and the variable is MSB, and that's 0. I'm going to add another one, bank 2, and the variable is LSB, and the value is 1. So this is the information that we need to tell Logic to pull up the preset drum kit. That's the bank messages, the MSB and the LSB for the preset drum kits. And these two right here are the MSB and the LSB information that Logic needs to send the drum machine to pull up user drum kits. If I wanted, I could add the preset one-shots, or the one-shots and the synth kits, but I never use them. They're terrible. All right, so we're going to close out of my user manual here. We're going to close out of the environment here. We're going to go back into this part of the environment where my instrument is. See how this 10 is highlighted? We're going to double click on that to open it up. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is in the bank slot here, it says no bank specified, names of bank 0 used. That's general MIDI. We're going to select bank 1. It's going to say, do we want to initialize a new bank? Click on initialize. All right. These are the stock kits on the drum machine. At this point in time, if I click on this first cell here, I look at my drum machine and it has selected the Adidas sample. If I click on the second cell, it has selected the Afro sample. So the drum machine is responding. That's what you're looking for. You want to make sure the drum machine is responding. Okay? The other thing is untick this thing down at the bottom to use GM drum program names for channel 10. You're going to see why in a minute. You're going to untick that because you want to be able to give it custom names and you want it to make sense in Logic. So untick that. And if you want to start naming them here, you can. There is no way to import like from an Excel spreadsheet or something like that. So the only way to give these the proper name is just you have to do them one by one. So we're going to edit that and call it what the drum machine is displaying to me right now, which is Adidas. And this one too is Afro. And this is Yay, and so forth and so on. All the way down the line, you'll notice when you select the next cell, the drum machine is going to respond. So this one's bringing up the Battle drum kit, Bad Boy drum kit, Beatbox, and so forth and so on. It goes all the way up to 99. By default, Logic will allow you to rename 127 kits, samples, but the drum machine can only store 99. So anything after this is useless. I can't, if I click on program 100, nothing's going to happen. Okay. You can delete those, everything from 100 to 127. You can delete if you want to, or leave them alone. Doesn't make any difference. Delete them. Just to make it nice and neat. And yeah, like I said, this is not a regular spreadsheet, so you can't highlight multiple cells, cut, copy, paste, and all that kind of stuff. Delete. You can't. You got to do them one by one. There is some options here, but they don't really work very well. So, okay, so that is bank 1, and these are the stock drum kits on my drum machine. So we're going to close that out. Now we're gonna initialize bank 2, which is the preset kits. The user kits. So we're gonna open channel 10 again. Under the bank message, we're gonna select bank 2. See how it says names of bank 1 used, not initialized? Click on that. Click on initialize new bank. Click on the first cell, and the drum machine responds immediately with the first user drum kit that I ever created. All I have to do is click on the cell. Click on this one, and it's my Latin kit. Now, I've only created 2 drum kits. I could create 99, but I've only created 2 drum kits on this drum machine. So let's rename this, and we'll call it user kit 1. And this one is Latin 1. Okay. If I click on this third cell, it doesn't bring up anything on my drum machine because I haven't created it. I've only created these first 2. So here's user kit 1. I'm just hitting the pads on the drum machine. Here's my Latin kit. Okay, and close out of there, right? Close out of the environment. Save this before we go any further. You can save the project and save the template. So I've saved the project. I'm going to save it as a template and replace that. Yeah. So that way your work is saved. You're not going to lose anything. All right. Now, when we're working with this external instrument, the advantage that I find is that I can call up different banks if I've recorded something on this channel and I don't like it, I don't have to re-record it. All I have to do is if I don't like the kit, I want to change the kit, all I got to do is just change the kit. So I would select a different bank. Like that's the preset bank. Okay. A different bank. There we go. And a different program. So I can select Adidas. Or any of these if I've got them named properly. You can still select them even though they're not named properly. You can select them and the drum machine will respond. Like this is the Crenshaw one. Right? But I don't like that. So I can select yay. And there you go. Next lesson is going to cover how to route the audio, because remember, this is just MIDI. If I record something on this track, yeah, you'll hear audio. Initially, you'll hear audio because you're going to hear it through your speakers or your studio monitors. It goes right to the stereo out. But you're not going to be able to bounce any audio because it's just MIDI. So I'll show you how to route the audio in the next lesson. Okay?